Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Crowd Chatter podcast. And today we're back for Major League Baseball. We got another month of the season that has come and gone. And so now we're going to get ourselves into it. With that being said, we've been doing obviously these monthly reviews for a while now for the Major League Baseball season. Um, so this will actually be for the regular season. This will be the actually last review of the year. Because if you watch a lot of baseball, you guys would know September is when the season ends. So I don't know. I might do a video like just reviewing everybody's season all together, but I'd imagine that at my next video, I'm not going to bother going over the teams that didn't make the playoffs. I'm only going to bother just doing, you know, playoff picks, and that's it. I might do like a September review or just a little short review of just how everything ended up being, but more than likely, like I said, especially with now football season underway. Of course, we just had college football opening week this past weekend. The NFL starting up this coming weekend. Yeah, I don't think we're really going to have time for, you know, baseball postseason stuff. Well, we'll be doing an MLB playoff video for sure. But much more than that, I think, is probably not realistic. So this is more than likely going to be the last regular season related baseball video here, and then for the National League, I'm doing this one first. I'll be doing a National League later. Makes sense? I hope it does. So let's get into it here. We are starting with the American League. This is the August review. So like I said, only 1 month left. We're getting very close to the end of the season, and we're getting closer to the point where we're thinking about playoffs already. And starting with the team that is currently on top of the American League East, and that is actually the Toronto Blue Jays, who currently sit for this past month. They were 13 and 11. Toronto Blue Jays have been extremely good. They had a nice stretch that got them to the top of the division, and they've basically held serve. Um, Boston and New York have kind of just been fighting each other for second place, and Toronto's been so far sitting pretty in first. Right now, of course, the Yankees and the Red Sox are directly on top of the Toronto Blue Jays, and so they are very much trying to hold on to that first place ranking. But as of right now, it's theirs to keep. And speaking of those two, we'll start with the New York Yankees, who sit at 76 and 61. They were 60 and 53 in the latest video, so that would put the Yankees at 16 and 8 for this latest month. They had a really bad stretch last month. It was not pretty for them. They had been major league slumping. They nearly got swept at home by Boston. I mean, it was really or that was actually only a couple weeks ago. But overall, it had been rough times for the Yankees. They were really slumping big time, and it was not looking good for them. But they've really picked it up as of late. They've been significantly better. I mean, you can see their last 10 games, 7-3, very sharp. Um, and now you're looking at, only 2.5 games off first place. You're right behind the Blue Jays. I mean, you're in a very good position to make a run for the division. I'd have to say, if you're the Yankees, you got to be pretty happy about that, especially considering, where you've been, the struggling times you had. You pull yourself out of that, and you're still only just 2.5 games off first. I'd say you've accomplished a lot. Next, we have the Boston Red Sox, who sit at 77 and 62. They played two more games, the same record as the Yankees. They were 63 and 51 in the latest video, so they were, or latest month, I should say. I did the latest video last month. You guys get it. Boston was 14 and so 63 and 51. They were 14 and 11 since then. This Boston team really on something towards the end of the end of my latest video towards my late at sorry, let me restart here. Um, when I made my last video, the Red Sox were on a huge run. They had been very sharp. They were looking really good, and now they've got themselves, similar, a little bit better, similar records as of late, looking pretty sharp. They also 7-3. Um, this is a good Boston team. I mean, they have a outstanding offense. They have hitters galore. A lot of their young guys that come up and looked extremely good. They had a lot of top end young talent that they brought up from the minors, put them in the majors. All of them have pretty much all of them have succeeded. Um, the only question for Boston I always had was pitching. Of course, the Walker Bueller signing did not go well, as they have since released him, and now he's with the Phillies. Kind of want the Tigers to go and get him, but oh well. Um, but for Boston, it's been pretty stinking good for them. Been very sharp, looking pretty good. At the beginning of the year, I said that this was my dark horse candidate for the American League. I thought Boston would be, a team that maybe sneaks up on some people and makes a run at a championship, making a run at the AL pennant. I still think that's the case. I'm seeing what I see. I'm seeing in Boston what I expected to see to begin the year when it wasn't happening. Um, with that team, the amount of guys that they have, the amount of just pure amount of hitting, even Aroldis Chapman sitting in the bullpen. He's been dynamite this year. 36-year-old Aroldis Chapman looking like the old Aroldis Chapman. That's kind of scary. Um, but this is a team that I think is extremely underrated, extremely overlooked by a lot of people. And like I said, they were my dark horse candidate to make a run at the AL pennant to begin the season, and they still are. And at this point, that's still what they are. I still think that this team very much can surprise some people. Next, we have the Tampa Bay Rays sitting at 68 and 69. Since the last month, they were 55 and 59 in the last video I did. So that puts them at 13 and 10 uh, since then. Tampa Bay Rays, I mean, this is just kind of what we expected out of Tampa, very middle of the pack, nothing more, and that's essentially exactly what they've been, and I don't think anyone's really surprised by that. They've been very good as of late as well. You can see 7-3 also, much like the Yankees and Red Sox. Also won their last 4 games, so on a nice stretch here, but I think this is what people figured they would see out of Tampa is just very middle of the road. And then that's about it. Just a very overall okay team, but not a playoff team, and that's pretty much what we've seen out of them. And then next we have coming up the rear in this division is the Baltimore Orioles sitting at 62 and 76. Um, not doing as well as the other teams in this division as of late. They were 51 and 62 at the start of the last video, so that puts them at 11 and 14. Yeah, 11 and 14. Since then, their pitching has been a disaster. The offense has not really come totally to fruition either. Obviously, they were sellers at the deadline, so trade away some guys. Charlie Morton. I'm not enthusiastic about necessarily having him, but Charlie Morton. He went to us. Who don't know. Charlie Morton, Cedric Mullins. I think Gregory Soto they had as well. I believe that was an Oriole, so he got traded as well. They traded some guys away. Obviously, they're just kind of trying to figure things out, maybe readjust some stuff and make it work. As of right now, obviously, I think this is kind of just a lost season at this point, and the Orioles will look to regroup after this season. But overall, it is what it is. The season's over more or less. I mean, you can still make a run at, I'm sure, the postseason, but your odds of getting there are significantly lower than they were before. And now we go to the AL Central, which all season has been pretty much dominated by the Tigers, and it's still been dominated by the Tigers. I mean, they haven't relinquished the lead, and they really have not let anyone get close, except for when Cleveland, I think, got within 5 and then collapsed. Um, Other than that, it's been almost double digits all year long, pretty much. But the Tigers sit currently at 80 and 59, which they were 66 and 48 in the last video, so that puts them at 14 and 11 since then. Uh, a bit of a just ordinary stretch as of late. Nothing great, nothing bad. And you can see on the right side here the playoff chances for everybody. So you saw it up here as well. Everybody's odds of making it to the playoffs. I think that's just based off of like ESPN's like meter or something. I don't know how they necessarily do it, but it has something to do with ESPN. But the Tigers, obviously huge Tiger fan here. I watch all the games. In fact, I was actually at the game yesterday. I'd won the previous two. That one didn't go so well. Well, I mean, it went well offensively, pitching wise, not so much. Um, well, for the Tigers, I mean, this is a good team. I do think that this team is definitely a little ahead of many people's expectations. I mean, you really think about it, this team came out of nowhere last year. I mean, we looked like Tigers looked they just completely dead in the water. Season was going nowhere. They had nothing happening, and it was borderline time to just kind of throw in the towel and be like, yeah, it's over. Let's give up. I mean, that's where the season was going, and I mean that's what they did. They traded away many different um, many different veterans. They sent away multiple different contributors in an effort to get some young guys into the team, and maybe hope for something better come next year or something. And instead, all the young guys that they brought in or that came up because via trades all turned out, played very well and put the Tigers in the playoffs, which is kind of crazy. And we won the wild card series and nearly beat Cleveland. So I mean, this team I think is definitely ahead of schedule and is even at this point I think is still doing more than I think anybody truly expected them to. I mean, the Tigers have the second best record in all of baseball right now. The only one higher we'll get to in the National League is the Brewers. But I think when you also watch the Tigers and you see stuff that they do, you see a lot in consistencies. And when and with a young team, you expect that. But I mean, there'll be games where we have. I mean, just like yesterday when I was at the game, we scored 8 runs, we gave up 10. Or we have other games we give up 1, but we score none. It's like they're all over the place. They show that they can certainly compete with anybody. I mean, the Mets are a very good team. We played them yesterday. We hung in there even with the pathetic pitching we had all day, and even some porous defense, but mainly the pitching. Even with all that pitching nonsense, the constant walks, the constant hits, we still were in it pretty much the entire game. We only lost by 2 runs. We lost 10-8. So when I watch the Tigers, the thing is that's consistency for me because they clearly have shown they can beat anyone. I mean, obviously they had the opening series of which did not look good against the Dodgers. That was the beginning of the year. At this point, we've seen them play multiple different contenders and look pretty good, and look like they belong with the grand majority of the people they've played. So that tells me, like, oh yeah, this team is good. This team can do it. The question is, can they put it all together at once? because that I haven't necessarily seen yet. I think they can, but I'd like to see that before I really crown them, like a World Series champion or something. Because good grief, there's a lot of good teams in this league. Um, but I went on my 5 minute talk about the Tigers. I won't continue boring all you guys who don't actually care about the Tigers. I'll move on to the next team in this AL Central Division, which is the Kansas City Royals, who been pretty good as of late. The offense has picked up the pace a little bit. And the pitching has still been as dynamite as ever. They've been very good pitching. I've talked about this before. They kind of remind me of like a Tiger team from a couple years ago, or a Tiger team. Go run it back several years. That's what the Royals are right now. They're a team with a severe lack of pitching, but man, or I'm sorry, severe lack of hitting, but man, they can shut out anybody. But 70 and 62, latest video, they were 56 and 57, which would put them at 14 and 10 for this month. Um, Good stretch for the Royals. They've been very sharp. Uh, like I said, the offense has certainly picked it up a bit. They're getting some more runs on the board. We're seeing more, I mean, against the Tigers, they had, 5 runs, 3 runs. I think one game against us, 'cause we had 2 series, they had 7 runs, or was it? No, we had 5. Or we had 7. They had 5. But my point is, they're actually scoring runs, which when you have great pitching, that continues to, you know, keep games lower scoring. I mean, do the math. When you score more than the other team, you're going to win. And if you keep, whoops, I hit the table there. And if you keep teams to very low run totals, and you're able to score a little bit more, that's going to constitute to more wins. So, I mean, we got 1 month left here. A couple more weeks of games. There are a few teams ahead of them. I know. Obviously, we're getting to the point where the wild card chase is getting very close. If I were to look here, I think they're probably like 4, maybe 3.5 games out. Okay, 2.5 games out of the wild card. That's why pretty close. I mean, 2.5 games out of the wild card chase. I mean, they're in a solid spot. I mean, yeah, obviously 9 out of winning a division, but with how the Tigers have been all year, I'm not sure that's possible. But this is a team that's very much in the wild card chase, and that's what most people figured, and so they're right in the thick of it. Now, next we have Cleveland. We have Cleveland, who sits directly at 500 at 68 and all. Latest month, Cleveland sat at 57 and 55, which puts them at 11 and 13 for this month. Also, very much in the wild card chase, just 4 games out, and Tampa is only 4.5 out as well, so it's not like they're too far out of it either. I was talking about them earlier. So I mean, they still are very much in it. They're not out of it as of yet. I know playoff odds are giving them 10% and 3. Especially I don't get that for the Royals. I mean, they're only 2.5 games out, and you got probably 20 games left or more. I mean, that's a long time to make up 3 games. I don't get the 10% thing, giving them that low of an odds. I mean, heck, we're talking about the same odds that gave the Tigers, 0.1% chance of making it the playoffs last year, and look what happened. Although that is a bit more extreme, but anyways. Um, but Cleveland, overall, I mean, this is a similar situation to that of the Royals, where the offense has not really been what I think they were hoping for. It has been rather disappointing, and the hitting has, or I'm sorry, the hitting has not really done, I think, what they were hoping for, and the pitching has been less than ideal as well at certain points. So, when you're expecting to get a little bit better hitting, and your pitching is supposed to be your strength, and really neither one end up being what you hoped for, yeah, it's gonna cause some issues, and now you see them at 60 at directly 500. 4 games out still, like I said, very much still in the mix, but Definitely need to make up some games here rather quick because you're still at 4 games come 2 weeks from now. It's not going to look good for you. Then we get the two teams in this league or in this division that are kind of irrelevant, and that starts with Minnesota Twins at 62 and 75. They were 52 and 60 in the last video, so that puts them at 10 and 15 this month. Not much to really say about them. I mean, they pretty much blew up the entire team. They traded away literally everybody, and there's really just nothing left. They have still somewhat competed. I mean, 10-15 isn't crazy bad, but this is not a good team. They just blew up everything and got rid of everybody that they had. So this team is pretty much an irrelevancy at this point. And then the Chicago White Sox, also not much to say here. Well, they're 50 and 88, uh, which is kind of rough because they were 42 and 70 in the last month. So they were 8 and 18 this month, which is not great. Although 5 and 5 in the last 10, so it was even worse before then. But it's not, I mean, it's the same situation as the Twins. Although they didn't blow everything up, they didn't have anything to blow up. This is just a bad team. They're in rebuild mode. I mean, so you're gonna find bad records from them for we'll see how long, but not a great team. Not much more to say. Now we go to the AL West, where we start with the Houston Astros, who are at 76 and 62. Houston Astros were 63 and 50 in the last video, so that puts them at 13 and 12. Yeah, 13 and 12 this month. Again, this Houston team kind of refuses to die, won't go away. um, but once again, still holding serve, leading the division, staying ahead of the really the two contenders behind them. Uh, wow, it's actually like almost exact records. That's kind of crazy. We'll get into that, but kind of similar thing for Houston. I mean, this is a solid overall team. Obviously, they have still plenty of good players left. I think this was a year when they kind of retooled the team a little bit, changed some things up. But I got, Houston, solid team, obviously, always in the postseason, always seems to make some noise, except for last year when the Tigers finally dethroned them. Um, but yeah, Houston's got a solid team. They always do. They'll be a playoff team again this year, and we'll see how far they go. Then we got directly behind them the Seattle Mariners at 73 and 65. They were also 13 and 12 in the latest month. Um, Seattle, another team that they made a lot of moves at the deadline to try and make the team better. Houston made some moves as well, but I think but Seattle really made a lot of them, especially getting Eugenio Suarez is one of the biggest ones. Um, so yeah, they did a lot. They definitely went out and made some moves at the deadline to try and just make this team better, give them a chance to compete with the Astros, and they're certainly getting close to that. I mean, they're still 3 games behind. They're in the exact same place that they were a month ago, which is honestly kind of wild that literally in 1 month nothing changed. It's literally the exact same situation. But yeah, I mean, this is a solid team. This is a team that certainly has talented players on it, and certainly one that will give Houston the run for their money. And I think these two do play each other, Seattle and Houston, very late in the season, so that could be a huge series. We'll see, but that could end up being the difference between who wins this division or not. And then in Seattle, of course, they're the team in the last wild card position. So right now, everything is they're the last wild card team. Just say that. Next, we have the Texas Rangers sitting at 72 and 67, and you guessed it, they were also 13 and 12 in the latest month. Kind of crazy that they all had the same record. Anyway, but you can see it was kind of a rough stretch for them. They really picked it up. 6 straight wins now, 9-1 in their last 10. Very impressive. Very similar. I mean, they were very similar to the Royals, but they have scored a lot more runs as of late. Still been very good in terms of pitching. The biggest thing for the Rangers is, I mean, the biggest thing for them is also kind of consistency because I feel like there's games where they, kind of like the Tigers, will have games where, I mean, the pitching's always great, but they'll have games where they score 1,000,001 runs, and then they'll have games where they score like none. And that's the games they end up losing. So it's like, and you see the run differential 94, very good. But they always seem to put all their runs in one game and then leave none for the rest of them. So once again, like I said, just find some consistency, find a middle ground, and maybe spread out the runs a little bit. I mean, that's what probably Ranger fans are saying. I don't know. I'd have to ask Sam. He's the one that's down there. um, but Rangers sitting a game and a half out of the last wild card spot, directly behind Seattle. Don't know if those two play each other at the end of the season here. I'm sure they may. I'm sure they might. I know Houston and Seattle do. I'd have to look and see if the Rangers and the Mariners play each other towards the end of the season. And now that I'm looking, because I'm looking here to see if they actually do or not, and it does not look like they do. So there is no more games for the Mariners and the Rangers to play each other. I know the Rangers do play the Astros, but there is no Mariners and Rangers. So I don't know where that overall series is at. Oh, maybe this will help me. I didn't necessarily plan for this totally. This is like kind of spur of the moment almost. Regular season. Oh wow! So Seattle very much won the overall series against the Rangers. They actually dominated the series against the Rangers. Holy cow! Um, so Seattle has the upper hand. They do have the tiebreaker over the Rangers. So the Rangers do need to actually be a game ahead of Seattle to make it to the postseason if that's their direct competition. Next, and then we got next two kind of irrelevant teams again. We have the LA Angels sitting at 64 and 73. They were they were 55 and 58 in the last video. That will put them at 9 and 15. 9 and 15. Yeah, 9 and 15 since the latest month. Their pitching has been a disaster. They can't stop anyone from scoring on them, and it's really hurt them this month. And they obviously have kind of fallen behind as a result. Kind of a little far out, but still maybe a chance. But I think it's a little too late for them. And then the Athletics, same style thing, 64 and 75. They were 49 and 65 in the last video, so they actually have been much better as of late, 15 and 10. Pretty much the exact opposite of the Angels, actually. A lot more offense, been able to score a lot more, but they're still giving up a lot of runs, and that obviously is kind of hampering their ability to win games. I think if the A's had some pitching, they actually might be a playoff team, but because their pitching is so porous, they just don't have a way of getting to the postseason. That's kind of been their overall kryptonite. But that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. One more coming. I mean, if you're watching this one after the National League one, this is the last one for you. But if you're watching this one first, there's one more Major League Baseball video to come before we have playoffs in one more month. Get ready, guys. Playoff baseball is only a few weeks away. Kind of crazy to think about. But that's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Until then, adios, everyone.